Welcome back to Carl's Corner. I'm Carl Cassell, coming to you today because the block stays hot, but most importantly because the conclusion of the NBA season has arrived. Summer has started. The draft is tonight and tomorrow. We'll have summer league, and before we know it, teams will report back to camp. So the season and the talk of the NBA doesn't stop just because um, we're no longer able to watch our favorite NBA teams and players get it in on the court. But we did get to see um, uh, Oklahoma City securing their first championship since relocating from Seattle, defeating the Indiana Pacers and Iowa State's very own Tyrese Halliburton in a thrilling Game 7. Shea was named Finals MVP after averaging 30 points, 5.5 assists, and 4.5 rebounds, leading the Thunder to a 103-91 victory in a decisive Game 7, but also an exciting series. SGA's performance was nothing short of historic as he became only the fifth player in NBA history to win a regular season MVP, a finals MVP, and a scoring title in the same season, joining an elite list that also includes individuals like LeBron James and Michael Jordan. His scoring prowess and leadership were pivotal throughout the series, especially in the absence of injured teammates, and this was the case throughout the season. Now, Iowa State's own and the Indiana Pacers' Tyrese Halliburton gave a tremendous and formidable challenge to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who many people had beating them in 4 or 5 games. We remember some of Halliburton's standout performances, especially the game-winning shot, which was, again, almost a heartbreaker for the entire series because this is what he did against the New York Knicks. But injury derailed him. We wish he, the Pacers, and his family a speedy recovery. An Achilles injury is never easy. We hope to see him back soon. Salute and congratulations to SGA and that young Oklahoma City Thunder team. Tremendous group of individuals, and we should be watching them in years to come. Now, as we finish the season, we always roll right into the NBA draft, which will begin this evening in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. It's obvious and well known that Cooper Flagg will probably be the number 1 pick to the Dallas Mavericks, who already boast of 2 Hall of Famers and past world champions in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, who was also a former Duke grad. So I'm sure he and AD will battle a little bit, but he and Kyrie will be 2 peas in a pod. But we're going to go over the top 10 potential draft picks tonight, not necessarily where they will go, but just the top 10 players. And I ask for your forgiveness for a couple of the pronunciations of these gentlemen's names. But as I mentioned, Cooper Flagg, small forward, potential power forward, but probably a small forward, 6'9", offensive, and more importantly, defensive juggernaut who has great defensive instincts and can get to the basket and has really developed a pretty strong perimeter game, will go number 1 to Dallas, as pre-mentioned. Next, we have Dylan Harper, point guard slash 2-guard coming out of Rutgers, who's a dynamic scorer and strong basketball IQ, creates plays and creates offensive plays for him and his teammates, and is pretty good defensive player and should be a top-tier talent. Ace Bailey is scheduled to probably go third, who is a combo guard, small forward, also out of Rutgers, has created a little consternation during this pre-draft process without working out for teams. But his scoring ability and athleticism is making him a top-tier prospect coming into this draft. As someone who lives in Philly, we would love to have him here at the third pick to go along with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George if they choose to keep that team together. Next, coming out of Baylor, shooting guard BJ Ejikambi, known for his defensive tenacity and versatility, offers significant upside for teams looking for a two-way guard. He should be a good one. Next, coming out of Texas at number 5, Trey Johnson, shooting guard, sharpshooter, excellent size and athleticism. Scoring ability will make him and position him as an impact player pretty quickly. Number 6, also coming out of Duke, shooting guard, small forward type, Khan Nopel, high basketball IQ, shooting efficiency, and will make him probably a safe bet for a team looking for a reliable wing. Next at number 7, potentially Kaman Maluik, a center out of Duke as well, who will offer an anchor in the middle, great shot blocking skills. Little work on his offensive game will go a long way, but he'll find himself on the floor and helping teams because of great defense. Number 8, Jeremiah Fears, point guard out of Oklahoma, who's a great playmaking guard with excellent court vision and leadership qualities, making him a valuable asset. Every team needs a good floor general, a leader, especially if he's going to have the ball in his hands. So he'll make a team very happy from that point guard position. Number 9, we have Noah Esunge, power forward, versatility, already has international basketball experience, appealing to teams looking for a skilled forward as well. Whether he plays a small forward or the power forward, in the day and age of positionless basketball, we won't know until he gets an opportunity to fit into a team that drafts him. But a solid pick at number 9. And then at number 10, point guard out of Illinois, Cas Pereira Jaquiunis, crafty point guard, known for his scoring ability, basketball IQ, and could be a future starter, if not an immediate starter, depending on the team that picks him, hopefully in the top 10. But this should be a deep draft. Also, you have international players last year. As we saw, a few French players went right away. But this offers some international experience. Teams that have multiple picks, like the Brooklyn Nets, can capitalize on the talent pool that awaits. And after the draft, we know what usually starts. You get summer league basketball in Vegas and Florida. So we'll get to see these young guys and guys vying for spots here pretty quickly. So we want to salute the Oklahoma City Thunder on a great season. Thank the Indiana Pacers for being formidable opponents, and look forward to this team coming back next year to defend their title, even though we've not had a repeat champion in 7 seasons. I don't know if that'll change next year, but teams are deeper. There's a lot of movement right now. And with free agents, obviously, we know guys like Kevin Durant have already been moved, leaving his team in Phoenix and staying in the Western Conference and headed to Houston. There's talk whether Giannis will demand a trade, whether he'll leave. New ownership in LA, will they be loyal to LeBron James. Side note, the owner, the lead owner in the group that's buying the LA Lakers is a Cedar Rapids Jefferson alum. Shout out to Cedar Rapids Jefferson, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, hometown. It's already won championship with the Dodgers and now has become the majority owner with the Los Angeles Lakers. So there's going to be a lot of movement. We know this summer as we go into summer ball, and then as we get towards the fall, camp open up, we'll see where teams are. So we want to end today's broadcast discussing LeBron James and being a vocal critic here recently of so-called ring culture that permeates the NBA. And his argument is that there's a relentless pursuit of championships overshadows individual greatness and fails to recognize the full spectrum of players' contributions to the game. And he didn't just stick to basketball. He mentioned football and baseball as well. But the basketball players he mentioned, Patrick Ewing, Steve Nash, who sits next to him, guys like Allen Iverson. I'll bring up Karl Malone, John Stockton, who are two of my favorite players. No one denies that these individuals aren't great. None of them have been called the GOAT. He brings up Barry Bonds, calls him the GOAT. And people say Barry Bonds is maybe the greatest player ever. I'd say that's an argument. When you have other guys who can boast that, but Barry Bonds, even without a championship, is still one of the greatest baseball players of all time. But Barry Bonds doesn't pitch. He brought up Peyton Manning, says he only has one championship. I beg to differ. Peyton Manning has two. He was my favorite quarterback in the NFL for many years, but my favorite quarterback of all time is Joe Montana, who has a handful of rings himself, could be considered the GOAT. But the difference between basketball in comparison to comparing GOATs in football and baseball is the offense, defense. Some of these guys don't play positions two-way in football. You can be considered the greatest pitcher, but you wouldn't be considered the greatest batter or fielder because there's varying degrees of the sport that cause players to end up in certain spots and not be considered the GOAT. But we do know guys like Barry Bonds are considered the GOAT. I mean, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. People will say Babe Ruth, Satchel Paige, who spent most of his career in the Negro Leagues. These guys, Josh, why am I drawing a blank on catcher from the Negro League? I know his name, Josh. It'll hit me in a minute if I yell out his last name. Just know that's who I'm talking about. Josh Gibson. But nonetheless, basketball is different because you're required to play offense and defense. And so that's what you get evaluated on, but not just your great individual stats, but more importantly, what you did on the biggest stage in basketball, and that's playing for championships. So LeBron James is a beneficiary, obviously, of the ring culture that he is now criticizing. In 2010, my man left Cleveland for the first time to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in the highly publicized decision. Now, Dwayne Wade was already a champion and an all-NBA player. Chris Bosh was an all-NBA player, all-star, who was leading the Toronto Raptors, who the year prior had his best statistical season to date at like 26 points, 10 rebounds. Dwayne Wade was averaging some 25 points as well. So he left to chase a ring. And so we're not knocking that. Winning championships is important because a lot of guys have great individual stats. but winning a championship is what separates the good from the great. And then we go a step forward further, how you played on the stage. And so in 4 seasons of going to the finals in Miami, he wins 2 championships. He's not satisfied. He leaves and goes back to Cleveland to win a championship. By his own admission, he joins the #1 overall draft pick in Kyrie Irving, who people will say hadn't done anything yet. But much like LeBron, his first 2 years in Cleveland, no, he didn't make the playoffs, but neither did LeBron. But Kyrie Irving was a All-Star MVP in Cleveland that second year. And so they trade the #1 pick in Andrew Wiggins to also bring Kevin Love, who was leading the Minnesota Timberwolves at like 26 points, 10 plus rebounds. And yeah, they were losing too, but the 3 of them joined to go to the finals 4 more times. LeBron only won 1 there in Cleveland, which against the Golden State Warriors, who at the time and who currently still hold the all-time mark in terms of regular season wins, but they didn't win the championship. So I don't want to get off, but I can't call them the greatest team ever because they didn't win the championship. The team next year, the next 2 years was better in Golden State, but LeBron won 3 championships in 8 seasons. He was chasing championship rings. And there is nothing wrong with that. I want people to understand, if you're playing for anything less than championships, then you're like some of these guys who are content just making a lot of money playing the game. The goal, though, is to win the very last game of the season. So his career has been heavily measured by what we call championship talk and championship or ring culture. He had individual stats. He was great individually, but it boils down to how many rings he won. That's what he was looking at. He was chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. Kobe had 5 before he ever got 1. So did Tim Duncan. The media and fans alike debate whether he's the greatest of all time. And people like to say the main metric is the number of titles. I'm not going to get into it, but I will say, for me, I don't believe in the game of basketball there can be one greatest of all time. It's not golf. It's not tennis, Tiger, Serena. But I do pick a starting 5 if I had to pick a GOAT team. And for me, it's Russell, Chamberlain, Jabbar, Jordan, and Magic. And I always pick my man Kobe coming off the bench. Those to me are GOATs. Individual stats, championships, how they performed on the biggest stage. And the only one you could argue that doesn't deserve that stage might be Wilt, because he only won 2 out of 6. So he was 2 and 4 in the finals. But Wilt also has stats that will never be eclipsed. He averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds for a season. He holds, at one point, he held the most records in NBA history in terms of individual stats. So he's great. And he has 2 rings to boot. So all I'm saying is LeBron's criticism of ring culture rings hollow when considering that he has spent much of his career navigating, shaping, and ultimately thriving within that very culture, trading hundreds of players, moving coaches along, going to different teams in order to win championships, which is certainly in his right to do. But to speak against it while still reaping its benefits is not only contradictory, but it undermines his credibility on the matter. So with that, the NBA has crowned the most recent champion, Oklahoma City Thunder. We will look forward to the NBA season starting up here in October. But until then, we have the draft tonight and tomorrow. We'll have Summer League for a few months here this summer, and we'll report back to camp to see who's going to be the 25-26 NBA champion. Thank you for joining Carl's Corner. See you next time. Maybe I can get someone to debate this GOAT discussion that is also permeated sports talk and sports radio. But until then, thank you for joining me. And remember, on Carl's Corner, the block definitely stays hot.